So in this module, we're going to be talking about the types of content that you want to have on your website. And we're also going to talk about maybe some examples of the depth of the content that's appropriate for a website for a Montessori school. So there's some basics that you want to see, also that people are going to be expecting to see on the main website of a school. And you want to keep things as simple as possible. Again, as I talked about in the last module, you don't want to try to turn your website into this place where prospective parents are hanging out and trying to read it like a magazine. It's just it's just not the right place for that depth of information. I won't get too deep into that because you can rewatch the previous module on that. So let's talk about the main standard web pages you should have. So there should be an About Us, right? Again, think about depth of information, whereas so for an About Us, you want to have some kind of high-level history, and you want to maybe have staff profiles, and so short paragraphs, right? Ideally, website content should always be read in 1 to maximum 3-sentence paragraphs, and you should be trying as much as possible to summarize, the main points for quick reading. People don't like to read paragraphs on websites, on desktops. It's just general best practice, but you do have to give enough information. So there has to be a right balance. Again, information, the right depth is geared towards the mental model cognitively where a prospective parent is at in the decision-making process. You want to have a page talking about the Montessori Method. Again, with a caveat, not a magazine, right? Not, you don't want to get technical. Stay away from technical things. Stay away from lingo. Stay away from the types of information you're going to be giving to parents when they're actually enrolled and they're in your parent education program. Reserve the technical stuff, the real, the lingo, the specific theories. Reserve that information for that stage of the relationship. At this stage of the relationship, you want to always be focused on whenever on any page that where you're engaging a prospective parent, the goal should be to let them know ultimately what benefits they're going to get out of your school. So when you're talking about the Montessori Method, focus on the main value propositions or benefits to the parent of having their child enrolled in a school that's teaching through the Montessori methodologies. Talk about the what, and this is kind of a rule of thumb. Your website should talk about the what, not the how, and that's a really important distinction. Okay, the how is for when they're in the tour, physically in the school. Talk about the what, maybe a little bit about the why, and that's kind of like the results, right? But it should always be geared towards the benefits of having their children in your school. FAQs are good, but don't give too much information. Something that I have a very strong stance on, and I've gotten pushback from different Montessori experts and people that honestly I think are wonderful people, and they have much more wisdom around many things than I do in this area. I have to say I have a very strong opinion. What that's about is giving pricing information. One of the best ways to ensure a prospective parent doesn't come into the school is to talk about price.
I'm not sure I understand.
Try that again.
Oh, that off. Siri, screwing up.
That's funny.
That would have been actually a funny outtake if I responded to it. Okay, let me say that again.
Yeah. Remember where you were?
Yeah. So, something that I have a very strong opinion about is when you should offer pricing information about the school. This can be a contentious one. A lot of school directors I talk to, when I bring up this topic, it makes them think that they have to be like sneaky or slimy by hiding information. So there's a right way to do this and a wrong way to do this. I'm not going to get too much into the details of the right and wrong way, but I just want to talk about the reason. So again, this is a huge decision, where they're going to put their children. And we all know that most schools will work with the right parents and the right families to figure out the money side of things. They'll find subsidies. It'll work out. But it's important that at the same time you don't promote subsidies, because subsidies they might be a big part of the value of your school, and that's fine. But again, not the right place. The website, not the right place to do that. You do want to make sure that they know that there's obviously it's a private school and there's a fee to have your children enrolled there. And it's okay to say there are subsidies, but you don't want to get into the details of it. What you want to do, once again, is use that as an opportunity to convince the parents that that information is best learned when they're in the school for an open house or a tour. The other thing too is that when you list prices, you are committing to them. And that's not a good position to be in for a school, because what if you need to raise your prices? What if a great fit parent saw the price of your tuition and saw that, this is a little bit higher than that other school over there that I'm also looking at. Are they able to appreciate the difference in the value of your school over that other school before they come in? No, but you're giving them information that makes them decide not to come to your school. So again, this has to be handled the right way, because you definitely don't want to come off like you have something to hide. That's not, there's a way of doing it. There's a way of writing it. There's a way of even responding to it when parents, let's say they call and they inquire over the phone and they start asking that information. Well, there's a right way to respond to that, and there's a good way to respond to it that persuades that parent that they need to book a tour to learn about that. And there's also, but if you do it the wrong way, it could sort of turn somebody off. So I'm not going to say it's something that everybody should do today without thinking about it, but definitely, again, it's all about the giving just the right amount of information and the right kind of information to persuade the parent to come in for a tour. So also you want to have like a contact us page. You want to make sure that it's really obviously easy for somebody to find. And the other reason why you want to stick to these page titles, because it's what people expect, right? So again, we want to make sure that your marketing strategy and your communication strategy is responding to the people that you want to bring into the school. They have expectations from going to thousands of websites every day. They see contact us, they see about us, they see FAQs. They kind of want to see those things because now it's built into our expectations. And it's very, very important to make sure that whatever your marketing strategy is, it completely resonates with the sort of built-in behaviors and communication and media consumption behaviors of your prospective market. So your prospective market, on average, for a new parent is a 28-year-old woman. And they consume information very differently today than they used to 20 years ago. Unfortunately, we see a lot of schools doing what they did 20 years ago. And that sets you up for having a much harder time to get the most ideal parents into your school. So that's kind of, it's very important to make sure that, again, depth of information is right, kind of information is right and responsive to the most ideal prospective parents that you're trying to get into the school. You have to make your website for one person and one person only. And your website has to be designed for a 28-year-old woman that has the intent to find a wonderful place for their child and to pay for the tuition. That's what your website has to be. That's who. You need a profile, and you need to not try to be the everything for everybody, right? And that's why I say your website is not the place for a parent education. It's okay to have it on your website, but there's ways and there's technologies that you can make a portal and you can make pages, like there's a login and there's the right way to use your website for those different scenarios. But for the general public, like that's just where anybody can come to your website. You need to have a picture in your head of a 28-year-old woman who is trying to find the best place for their child, and also understanding that that website needs to have a goal to take that 28-year-old woman. Not that men don't go there either, but generally speaking, as we've seen, and I've got tons of data to show this, the vast majority of people that are going through the engaging enrollment processes are women, right? And obviously, ideally, you're getting the parents that have the younger ages in, so they can come in early and stick with you for the whole program. So again, you need to be very, very strategic with your website and make sure that it is addressing the most ideal prospective parent and matching the exact profile of that person. And everything about your website should be catered towards that. Even color choices, branding choices, language choices, everything. I mean, this is what, when a big multinational enterprise corporation tries to figure out what should be on their website, this is the same approach they take. Of course, they've got usually millions of dollars to spend on big branding teams and all that stuff. But these are the basics that anybody can focus on, and so just keep things as simple as possible, and that way you'll get the best results faster out of your website. Now, I've mentioned something called a landing page. So a landing page is, there's many ways of creating a landing page. A landing page is just another kind of web page, but it's got some specific use cases, and it's also got specific design rules that make it a quote-unquote landing page. You want to use landing pages for very specific scenarios. So number one, if you are running any paid advertising, please never, 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 ever send that traffic to your main website. It's the best way to blow a bunch of money on digital advertising. So why? Because the main website it's the most general communication, right? So the number one rule of a landing page is that when people land on it, there's only one path to move on. There's only one action that user can take. There's one singular goal for that landing page. So generally speaking, that landing page has the one goal of getting that parent to inquire. So that's usually, filling out a simple form with some basic contact information, maybe basic information about the children, not too long. You don't want to ask the people to go through a lot of labor to fill out that form. Simple form, that's usually what it is. There's other things you can do as well, but you want them to opt in and give you their contact information, and that'll enter them into the rest of the process. And in other modules, we'll talk about the rest of the process coming up in the next lessons. But the landing page is, the reason why you need a specific landing page certainly for a paid campaign is because you're paying Facebook money and you're targeting very specific people. So it could even be more specific than your website. Generally, you're going to be targeting the same people, the same sort of profile in general across all of your digital portfolio. But when you're paying to send people to your website, your general website has different navigation items. There's different links. There's click over here to learn this. Here's some FAQs, all that stuff. Every time somebody clicks onto another page, they're less likely, not more likely, they're less likely to come in for a tour. So you have to think of a landing page like taking, so in regards to the content of the landing page, you want to be taking the most important bits of all the different pages on your website and bringing them into that one landing page. So again, they've got one place, they land on this page, there's only one thing they can do. They can either leave by just actually typing in another address, but the only link or action that they can take is the one goal, which is opting in and inquiring about the school. Now, talking about the design of the landing page and the content of the landing page is where you want to sort of centralize all the most critical bits of information that they might need to want to take that step. But again, just the right amount of information, just the right depth. And I will say what we've found by testing thousands of landing pages at this point is that what you want to have is you want to make sure at the top of the page the call to action is very, very clear. You want to have a very consistent value proposition that's tied to the ad that they came in from. And as well, you want to have some more information about your programming, about the school, but really, again, the content is focused on the results of the Montessori method, the results of having children in your school, not the specifics about the Montessori method. You want to focus on results, on benefits. And you can talk about the programming at a very high level. Don't get into all the details, right? You need to entice the right parents to want to learn more, and the path to learning more is by booking a tour and coming in to meet you. So also, another use case for landing pages beyond just paid advertising is to optimize them for search engine optimization. I see a lot of schools, so I'm going to talk a little bit about search engine optimization in general. Whether it's worthwhile or relevant for a school is not always obvious. I'll say that in our audits, we used to provide search engine optimization at Hubley for schools. We don't do it any longer because we found that it was something that was so inconsistently valuable for a school. Sometimes a school is in an area where there's a lot of people, a lot of the sort of the relevant prospective parents doing searches, and search engine optimization drives organic, basically free traffic to your website. So that's great, right? If you get free traffic, you don't have to pay for it. That's wonderful. But if you're considering to hire an SEO expert or agency or anything like that, you have to be very careful. There's a lot of snake oil salesmen out there who tell you that SEO is just the best and it always works for everybody. That's really not the case. And it's definitely not the case from my own research and testing and being paid to provide the service as well, and actually deciding to stop taking money for our organization to provide that service because specifically It's a very hit and miss thing. It takes a long time to get even if a school is in a geographic area where there are a lot of parents searching for a school like theirs, even at that point, it's very difficult, expensive, and time-consuming to actually get your website to be ranked high in search engine results for the right keywords. A lot of people don't understand search engine optimization. I'm not going to be really digging into it, but what I'll say is be very cautious about that. Number one, it's something that most people really don't understand what its value is. Most people we talk to, and also, unfortunately, a lot of schools have been convinced that they should pay money for search engine optimization when no matter how much they spend or how good the people are doing the search engine optimization, it's a complete waste of time, because what we've seen is there's a lot of schools where, in a lot of areas where there is just nobody is using Google to search for search terms that are relevant to that school. And what I mean specifically is that, let's say you're a Montessori school in Yorktown, New York. Okay, so upstate New York somewhere. You want to make sure that first, before you invest in search engine optimization, that you want to know that people in that area, so let's say a radius of at least 25 miles around the school, there's enough people going into Google and searching for things like Montessori school in Yorktown, or childcare in Yorktown, or preschool in Yorktown, or schools in Yorktown, relevant search terms, right? Essentially, think about a search term like a street. I often give this analogy that getting your website to be found on Google is like kind of having your website on a billboard on a busy street. So nobody would pay to have their school advertised on a billboard on a street that nobody drives on. That would be silly. It'd be a total waste of money. The same thing for schools doing search engine optimization. There might be very low search traffic or virtually no search traffic of people in your area, in relation to searches that are relevant to what you offer, like a school. Some areas there's tons of it, and it does make sense to invest in it, but a lot of areas there's not. So just something to be aware of. SEO is not, the right move across the board. Now, all that said, if you're in an area where search engine optimization, there's a lot of search volume, there's tons of parents searching for search terms that are relevant to your school, meaning they're looking for something like your school, then you do want to invest in search engine optimization. And ideally, again, this is where landing pages come in. A landing page, so you have to know what search terms or keywords are the most trafficked, are being searched for the most. And once you know that, then you can, of course, if you know what you're doing, again, hire an expert. You can take that keyword, apply it to that landing page, or you want to create, ideally, different landing pages for each one of those strategically valuable and relevant keyword searches, so that each one is optimized, and you're more likely to be ranked high and found on those search results pages, which will generate traffic. But that's going to take an investment to get there. So it's kind of like paying for ads. So you want to make sure that the investment is generating the traffic that comes from that investment hits a page that, again, utilizes the right design so that the highest proportion of that traffic speaks to the right kind of parents and drives them into that one goal of booking a tour, opting in for an inquiry and getting into a tour. you really want to stay away from sending traffic or making any investments of traffic towards your main website. Okay, your main website is there for your business card. It's there for some organic traffic, but if you're going to be investing in driving traffic into your website, it needs to go to specific landing pages, right? You need to control the flow of that traffic into specific landing pages that allow you and create the best and highest opportunity, the highest level of conversion rate of the opt-in, right? So that the money you're investing into that strategy, whether it's direct traffic by ads, or you've invested in search engine keywords, which take months to really get optimized and start returning on the investment. There's a lot of, you're going to be taking your very specific, very coveted marketing budgets, putting it into these investments. You want to make sure that you're getting the most efficient use of those marketing dollars. And that's where landing pages come in. It is, so please never pay for traffic from any type of ad or any type of organic search engine optimization when you're like hiring experts to do it. Do not make sure that the traffic that's coming in doesn't just go to your main website, because it's never going to be as efficient. You're never going to get as many inquiries for your marketing budget by just sending them to your general website. So that really summarizes the main use cases for your website and how you should be formulating the content. And so just make sure that you're always communicating with prospective parents in the right ways. So again, everything that you do, you need to be as specific as possible, designing for that one most likely ideal fit parent, which for most schools, again, is a 28 to 30-year-old mother who is able to pay for your tuition, and start from there, and that helps everything snap into place.